aren't here simply to be visible. We are here to be victorious.
Since 2019, the National Trans Visibility March has been bringing together thousands of community members and allies in a historic march through our nation's capital, all in a united effort to make our voices heard. Now, as the march prepares for its 7th year, the fight for rights is entering a new era, pioneered by a decorated community leader.
I am so grateful to step into a position that is of deep importance to me. We can no longer be unseen, unheard, and uninvolved. The time is now to unite as a community and stand tall.
Join us June 3rd through the 8th as we celebrate our strides and create a future we can be proud of.
Hello, everyone. I hope y'all are doing good and having a great day today. My name is, I just want to go and start with some introductions. So hi, my name is Jay Jones. Currently, I am a graduate of Howard University, official alumna, and I'm so happy for everyone to be here today, for us to be able to be with these great people today, to be able to have this wonderful conversation. So without further ado, I'm going to allow them to go ahead and introduce themselves and some of the work that they're doing. Jasmine, or Kenny, you can go first.
I will go, and we'll leave the best for last, Jasmine. I'm Kenna Barnes. I use she, they pronouns. I am the Senior Director of Advocacy and Programs here at Black and Pink. And this is a part of the amazing work we're doing to really uplift trans folks and make sure folks who are impacted by the system or inside carceral settings are really cared for in a community loving way.
Hey, y'all. That's my favorite saying. Those of y'all who know me know about hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Jasmine Tasaki here. Pronouns she and her. I am born and bred in Memphis, Tennessee. I lived a lot of places. I am one of the co-managing executive directors at Black and Pink. I've been serving in this role for about 2 years. But I have been with Black and Pink for 5 years and really excited about the work we do, supporting those people who are currently incarcerated or newly reentering society, those young system impacted people, and also people who may be living with HIV. And our focus is always on Black and brown trans folks, especially now more than ever. We need to support those who are the most marginalized so that we all can have collective liberation. So I'm really excited to continue the work that we've been doing and find new ways of doing it and reaching even more people.
Oops, I was muted. I forgot to unmute myself. Well, thank you all so much for being here. And thank you both so much for being a part of this as part of the National Trans Visibility March. And so I guess the first thing I kind of want to ask both of you all is I really want to ask really about Black and Pink. How did it get started? You talked a little about the organization, but kind of a little bit more about the work that y'all are doing currently right now. And kind of just a little bit also about as well, right? Like, why Black and Pink? Why do you all do that work? Like, what's the significance and the importance, especially for both of y'all?
That's a good one. We'll tag team it. So I'll start off. So Jason Leiden started Black and Pink 20 years ago. Black and Pink started out, of course, as an abolitionist group, and has grown into a nonprofit organization with several chapters. One of the core values and core programs, if you will, of Black and Pink since its inception has been our Pen Pal program and our Inside Member Response program. So Pen Pal program is where we pair people who are outside with those people who are inside, just to be a support, right? Because we know how important it is that the people inside have family and friends and community. The violence of separation is what I call it, when people are policed and incarcerated at an all-time high. It is in an effort to violently separate them from their community and the things and practices that they know to be inherent to them. And we really have always, as an organization since its inception, focused on providing that community and that support through our Pen Pal program. We also do what's called an inside member response program, where we have people who are inside write us letters for whatever they need, right? Whether it be some joy, if they just want to connect to Pen Pal people, they're like, hey, can you hook me up? Or it can be, my housing is not being done in an ethical way, and I need some advice on, how to get the proper housing. Several things. People may not be receiving their medicine and need someone to advocate for them in that way. People being held in the wrong facility and needing advice on how to navigate, the legal system. So we respond to those letters as quickly as we can. We get a lot of letters. And we try to equip the people inside with the self-advocacy tools that they need to do this on their own, because ultimately they won't always have, us to answer them, especially because they're inside. We're not able to do it as quickly as they probably need it sometimes. So our goal is to give them self-advocacy tools that they can even share with each other. And then something else that we do that is one of the core programs and core values and the heart of this organization is our inside member letter. And that's where we, as Black and Pink, can create even more community. We share what's going on the outside. We talk about issues. We talk about joy. We talk about pleasure. We also share artwork from those people who are inside that want to send their artwork in to be shared nationally. And we do those newsletters 3 times a year. And so Black and Pink does, I'll let Kenna talk more about the programs that we do, because we do have a housing first approach that we use. We also have some other amazing programs, but those 3, the Pen Pal, the inside member response, and the newsletter, are like the fabric of this organization. That's how we started, and we continue to do that work even through today. Kenna, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you, Jasmine. We also do some support with folks who are re-entering society. A lot of folks are coming out and they haven't opened a refrigerator in multiple years, right? They haven't had access to phones, and technology changes all the time, even for us. Like sometimes I'm like, what is this new update? Oh my God. So like imagine coming out after 20 years and like getting a cell phone and people are saying, yeah, just go online and sign up for an appointment. What an alarming, way to have to navigate the world. So really, again, equipping folks who are coming out with those self-efficacy skills and bringing them into loving care and community. I always say that abolition is just a fancy word for community takes care of each other best. And people coming out really need love, and people inside really need love, right? So like, I think we're all a lot closer to incarceration than we like to imagine and think. So really showing up for community in that way is essential. But making sure that folks, have housing to go into, to get a job, to be able to have a safe place to sleep so they can write that resume, right? We do some food distribution, so making sure that folks in our community have what they need to sustain for the week. And that's through Whispering Roots. We're in Omaha, Nebraska, so Whispering Roots supports us in that. So we also have like a lot of amazing community connections. And we are opening Opportunity Campus, which is housing for young system impacted folks who are LGBTQ+ or living with HIV and that will be a space for them to come in and regroup. We found a huge gap in care for young folks who are being often kicked out of the system, and really making sure that they are provided with the tools that they were never given. You know, people who are in foster care, people who are in detention centers, youth facilities, they're not getting the sex education. They're not getting the job readiness education. The system is just really not set up for anyone, but particularly people who have oppressed identities. So a lot of the work is just really showing up for folks in the ways that they need. It's very self-led with like some guide rails saying like, okay, we know you're going to need a job. What do we need to do? Okay, we know you're going to need food. How do we make sure we connect you to food resources and get you in the kitchen and cooking, giving those, you know, life skills. So a lot of self-efficacy is like kind of the root of the work we do inside, but especially outside.
I know this is funny. When you were just saying that, I'm like, all I hear is Glorilla, let them cook. And that's basically what we do. We let the people come and they cook, like, and work on themselves. They're not just, you know, like, they're not just existing anymore. Oftentimes when people are inside, they're existing. They're not really living. So we invite people to come to these spaces and live. Opportunity Campus is a residential space and a community drop-in center. So it's a place where people can just also connect to joy.
Wow. So people, y'all heard it here first. I mean, this is the great work that's happening consistently, continuously. And you know, if that doesn't bring you a smile in the midst of all of the chaos that's happening in the world, I simply don't know what will. But moving a little bit onward, I do want to talk a little bit about considering all the chaos. Instead of us talking a little bit more, especially on a state level, I think, or national level, I think a lot of times we talk about things nationally, and sometimes it is important that we talk about things on a regional level and kind of things that are going on in your specific regions and in your specific states. And so, just for a second, I really want us to make sure that we talk about, or that we hit on. Considering all the chaos and everything that is going on in the world right now, what are you all seeing in your regional places, in your regional spaces? I know I always like the best example. I was in DC for a while, and that was a very interesting place to be, considering, you know, we're right down the street from the White House and Congress, and it was just a very interesting spot to be, considering everything that was going on. But I really want to know, what is it like organization wise, for you all's organizations, national organizations? How are they adapting to these like forever regional changes that are consistently happening, especially considering we're witnessing 501c3 changes? We're witnessing a president call out those 501c3 changes and threatening to revoke that status. What is that like specifically in you all's regions?
I think that people really in their certain regions are the experts of their community, right? Going back to that abolitionist framework. So one of the reasons why we have chapters is they are the experts of their communities. They know how to resource the people who are in those regions. People have been doing this work for centuries, you know, and without funding, without resources, they've just been, the resource is community, right? The resource is that social connection. So people who are in different regions are really coming together and making it work. I think we're in this moment of, we knew we needed to do collective organizing, and now we have to do collective organizing. And so, you know, that Skillshare is essential for communities in their specific areas, because what's in Omaha, Nebraska isn't going to exist in, you know, Memphis, Tennessee. Sometimes there's overlap. And then that's the beauty of working in a national space, is like you can find those overlaps. But yeah, really just leaning into the expertise that exists in communities and not recreating the wheel, I think is essential right now. We don't have time, and we have a lot of those collective movements already happening. So just really tapping into that feels important right now. But yeah, I'll pass it over to Jasmine if she has anything to add.
I think what we're seeing individually or regionally is kind of it's mirroring each other. So that's why organizations are really leaning into collaboration. Excuse me. What I will do is lift up some of the obvious things that we are seeing right now. Most trans-led organizations or trans-focused organizations are, losing funding because a lot of their programming is specific to HIV treatment and prevention. We see that, a lot of our clinics that are focused on trans people are closing down because they're losing funding. We're also seeing that even organizations that historically focus on communities of color are also suffering. So I think that something that is happening is organizations are scrambling now to figure out how to pivot the work that they are doing while keeping the integrity of the origin of why they do the work, if you will. We have been fortunate enough to not have lost funding from the government because we didn't get government funding. But something else that we are seeing is that a lot of private funders and philanthropists are closing down their doors because they're not getting the resources, I guess, to fund these big organizations and projects. So we have been really leaning also into how do we fundraise as a community and continue to lean into what we inherently have always done, which is a nod to what Kenna said, right? We have done this work with no money, but I think that right now organizations and just people are in shock because we're coming off a time where after COVID, funding was really good for a couple of years for pretty much all communities all across the board, right? Because a lot of them were coming from the syndemic and everything that we were working through. And now funding has been, it's like as good as it got. It's now getting like people are getting tight with the funds, and we're having to really rethink how it is that we move as organizations, but also like making sure that we continue the important work that we do, which is not always what funders want to fund, right? People don't understand that when organizations are really thriving, that we're thriving off work that we've been doing. Having to do new projects often drains organizations, and it keeps you from being able to really make that long-term impact with community when you're only given like a year or two to do that project. So we're really trying to secure funding that is multi-year, and we're really trying to find funders who believe and are willing to invest into our vision of really supporting system impacted people and or people who are living with HIV.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you all both so much. And I think y'all kind of actually just segued perfectly into the next kind of piece I wanted to talk about, which is this trans rights working group and kind of what it meant. And so let's go a little bit. Let's just talk a little bit about like, what is this going to be? What do you all want this to become? What is this? And kind of for people who are like listening and witnessing, as we know, it's going to be a part of the National Trans Visibility March. So sorry, you all, I'm in my grandparents' house. And so, they got extra security. So this is like Fort Knox, okay? But kind of just wanted to know, what is this kind of going to become? What is it? And also, right, how are people going to be able to get involved? It's going to be part of the National Trans Visibility March. And so kind of just letting us know a little bit more into it and giving us a little bit of insight.
Okay, so historically, Black and Pink has done a national working group or coalition, if you will, where we were focusing on decriminalizing HIV within the LGBTQIA community. And we were doing that through a lot of policy work. This coalition was really big. It was started by Urvashi. I cannot think of Urvashi's last name. Do you know the Urvashi's last name, Kenna?
Vade.
Say it again, the whole name.
Urvashi Vade, I think.
Okay, because I can pronounce it.
I'm pretty sure.
Yes, but Urvashi has transitioned on, and so we honor Urvashi in this moment and the work that she put into the working group. I'm so glad we got asked this question so that I can lift her up. And so we did that work. One of the highlights of the work that we did as a working group once I came on was we put in a presidential transition memo. That's where we came up with like what we thought the collective important things that should be done within the first 100 days of the administration. And that was some really hard work, but it was amazing. So that was one of the things that I was proud of that we accomplished. We ended up transferring the ownership of that working group out because it was a lot to hold. And also I and the other people that made that decision really believe in transferring of power. So it's not about black and pink, like always holding things, right? Once we get things up and moving, it's other people that have the ability to lead and have the ability to do what we were doing, because we were simply facilitating, the work was done by the members. So the working group has, Black and Pink has not had a working group since then. Coming into the March, when we talked with, I was going to say Dr. Miller. Hi, Marissa. When we spoke with Marissa about what the intention this year was behind the March, and we also thought about, the current administration and everything that everyone is navigating through, we felt that there was a need, again, for a working group. And while the question can be asked or posed, why Black and Pink? When there's so many coalitions going on, right? Black and Pink is a place where we have created a network and a community where people trust us to guide these conversations. Black and Pink also has worked in these spaces before, specifically with policy. So, we felt that we could add to the work, not to take away from any other groups. Our work is not more important. It's just niched to the community that we serve. And we want to make sure that we're working to advance the movement and advance the rights of our community. So we wanted to rebirth this working group to really focus on the needs of trans people. So we've already met once. We're going to meet again at the National Trans Visibility March, and then we'll be meeting virtually after that. Right now, we have a survey that was sent out among the working group people to really figure out what is it that we want to do for the year, or what barriers do we want to address. And from there, we're going to let the working group decide and how we will address those barriers, how we will strategize. But we're going to bring in some people, hopefully some heavy hitters in those areas of focus. And we'll be able to really do some forward-thinking work with like-minded individuals. And I think that if nothing else, something that I always remind people, in this time, we have to stick together, period, right? A lot of people, because there's other things that comes after that we have to do. But I think the first part that everyone has to get is we have to stick together. So, just the joy of community and having a space or a container where like-minded individuals can collaborate, that's a win within itself, especially in this time. I'll pass it to you.
Thank you. Yeah. So adding to what Jasmine said, the area of expertise that we really hold is criminalization and how certain things are criminalized, right? So we have connections to folks who are doing work around research and data collection. How do you collect that information in a safe way that isn't outing people, especially if you have a federal grant? How are you collecting healthcare information? How are we making sure that healthcare providers are not doing anything to expose trans folks? How are we making sure that trans folks can go into those spaces and ask the right questions, right? Like, you can say no on the weird virtual AI thing so that they don't capture that information in a computer digitally, right? Digital security is a huge piece of surveillance and criminalization that we're foreseeing in the future. And we have connections to organizations who are doing those trainings. So bringing the experts in to really share with the people on the ground, to share with the the grassroots organizers who are really needing that information, because they're just being scrappy and moving, and that's how we do the work. That's how they do the work. And there's a very viable threat to that right now. So just really making sure that folks have, again, it's that self-efficacy, the education to be able to keep themselves safe, keep each other safe, and really just continue moving as a collective. And even like storytelling and sharing, I think will be very liberating in that space for folks to say, this is my experience. It was terrifying. What do we do? You know, these are very real things that we're really trying to navigate what criminalization and surveillance will look like, and does currently look like, but will likely increase.
So before I ask my next question, I also just want to make sure I emphasize this for everyone, that if you all do have questions for both of them or anyone here, please don't be afraid to ask them down in the chat. You know, just place your questions down there, and someone will be able to make sure that we see it so that we can make sure that we ask. But the next kind of thing I wanted to make sure I asked you about with this working group as well is typically who holds membership in it? What does it look like for other people to get involved with it? I know that you placed a survey in the chat, kind of just giving us a little bit more on the logistics of the working group. Can people just like get involved with it as they're at the march? Kind of just like, what does that process look like?
Yeah, so people who are at the march, we welcome them to join. I believe that Dr. Elijah and folks will share, they have shared the survey, so they will share how to also join that. We also are really wanting folks who are at all different levels in that space. So we have some listservs that we've sent the invite out to of lawyers and healthcare providers and young folks, but also really wanting people who are on the ground, trans folks who maybe aren't even in an organization, but they need this information to come and, you know, be able to share with each other. Because just because you're not in like a, you know, brick and mortar 501c3 doesn't mean you're not doing community care, community work, and on the ground stuff. So really making sure that folks who are in those spaces are joining. So having this, please fill out that interest form. We will start collecting those email addresses. If you're interested and you're watching this and you want to join, please put your email address in the chat. We're making sure that we're getting information from folks to make sure it's also a safe place. That's a big part of this right now too. So yeah, put that information in the chat, y'all, and we will add you or send you the interest group survey, or if you fill out that survey, that's it.
And I think it's important that we lift up everyone. Everyone is important in this movement, and whatever people can bring to the movement is needed. So if you fill out the form and you come to 1 or 2 meetings and you help us say, hey, this is the need, and this is, you know, what I think could be done, that's enough. Some people, everybody isn't the worker bee. Some people are the visionaries. Some people are the coordinators. Some people are boots on the ground. There's another song, boots on the ground. But like, yeah, and some people just bring your fans out. Like, that's cool too, because some people have to stand and bear witness to the work. So there's different levels. We just ask that people come to use their voice. That's the main thing, is people using their voice. And this space, this working group, is a container for people to do that, and for us to find out what is that need, or what are those needs that we need to be focused on for everyone to thrive.
Yes. Okay, I see that. Okay, we all need joy. Okay, good. I know that's right. So, okay, cool. happen. Well, I think that that's everything for me. I want to make sure I also give you all the space. I know that there's been a couple of things that have been put in the chat. So for people who want to join, you have so many different ways you can get involved. You can either email the comms at blackandpink.org. You can do the survey. Pick one and do it. I love multifaceted use of communication. Okay, I am a multifaceted use girl. If you don't like one, you can do the other one. But with that, I also want to make sure I give the space for anything else that you all wanted to add, anything I didn't touch on, anything I didn't mention. I know that we are about to we're coming up very soon on the National Trans Visibility March. And so I really want to also make sure I ask you all, what are you all excited about? What are you all energetic about, especially considering it's literally right around the corner?
I am always excited about the community fellowship. The kids know you can catch me outside. Like I am a person that I am not always out and celebrating and just like experiencing joy out because of the communities that we live in can be dangerous for trans folks. So whenever I'm in community with my people and we can get out and we can experience joy, it's always amazing for me. So I always just enjoy like pulling up to check into the hotel and like seeing all the people and all those things. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to Black and Pink being able to be such an active partner in this year's march. We're bringing our whole team. We're a small team, but we will bring our whole team. And I'm really excited for those people on our team that have not been to the march to experience the march. And there are some amazing strategy directors. Honestly, I'm very excited to be working with you, Jay. As you know, I've always been a supporter of you. I love your work. And so to be working with you is just great. So those are some of the things that I'm excited about.
I mean, I feel like she covered it. I love being with our people, like it's just so fun to be able to come together and be like, whoa, y'all, this is wild, but like, love to see your face. So happy you're here. Let's do some work. It's so invigorating to be in those spaces. And if you've never done a march, folks who are watching, I am a crybaby. This is true, but I cry every time because of the power of like walking down the street together. It's magical. So I really feel like if you haven't experienced that, come experience it. It is so cool. But Jay, I want to hear what you're excited about too.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, this is my second time ever going. I was at the march last year. It was just such a great time. It was a wonderful time. And so I was actually really happy whenever I was asked this year to be one of our strategy directors for the Policy and Safety Summit, as well as for the march. And so I'm always excited. I love actually like being able to meet older people who are in this space and people who I look up to, right? So like people like Jasmine, people like Marissa, like people who are in this space who do this work. Because for me, right, like it just brings me so much like joy. And so it's like, oh my gosh, like it's like, hey auntie, like how you doing? And so I'm really excited just to be able to do that. But I think the other thing, right, is similar to what both of y'all were just saying. It's really big to be in community. And I don't feel like a lot of times we get this kind of space to be able to all come together, to celebrate each other, to love on each other. I know I had went to, I was able to be able to actually go to something with Jasmine as well in Tennessee. She actually invited me out to, in which I had absolutely loved because I was with community. And it's like, it's that feeling of being with community. It's that feeling where we get to all be able to galvanize together that is just, you can't replace it. I mean, you really can't replace that feeling. And I think that this year, in addition to just having the march, us having this policy and safety summit, being able to hear from organizations like Black and Pink, being able to hear from so many different organizations is going to just be such a powerful moment for everybody. So please, everyone, if you haven't already, make sure you register for the march. Make sure you get involved with the march. Make sure, I see that we have the volunteer link down below. Make sure you get ready to sign up for the march, because I literally promise this is an unforgettable experience. It is just an experience that you just simply don't want to miss. And so with that, I think that is everything that we had specifically today. Oh, I do see, actually, just playing, we do have a question here today. So I see from Victoria, with the state of the current political climate, will there be added security for the National Trans Visibility March? And so I will go ahead and start with that question first. Yes, I know in all of our conversations, we have begun to talk about what security is going to look like. The good thing is this year, we're kind of grouping the Visibility March with World Pride. And so what we're doing is we're kind of in that spirit of collaboration, being able to use kind of both of our resources collectively to ensure a safe and secured for all members who are planning on being there today, or planning on being there for the entirety of the march. So yes, there will be added security. Security will not be something that there is to worry about, and trust, we will all be there to make sure we protect each other, because you know what, when security fails, these fists start to rise. Okay, it's me, we'll pick up a brick if we have to. But with that, yes, I don't know if there was any other questions. Ken and Jasmine, did y'all see any other questions in the chat? No. Okay. All right then. Well, with everything, thank you all so much for joining us. And we are super excited to be able to see you all again for the National Trans Visibility March. And once again, everyone, please make sure you all get involved. And I hope you all have a great rest of y'all's day.
Thank you, Jay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank y'all. Bye.
Bye.
You ready to march?
We are so excited to be here and to be in year 5. And I want to tell you that I thank you for being here. I love you guys. We will march. When I say trans, you say power. Trans.
I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary.